release the Brainstorm.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy Breezy from Brainstorm.com, and I'm just here to give you a little pep talk to really get you to play an instrument. Go pick one up and play. It's crucial, especially if you want to take your music and your craft to the next level. I mean, technically speaking, if you want to, do and create music nowadays, you don't really have to play an instrument, but that's just going to be a hindrance. That's just going to keep you limited. And when it comes to music, as a creative person, I'm sure that being limited is not something that you want to be, experiencing. So I definitely always encourage people to play an instrument, especially if they're involved in any form of music, period. They're a beat maker, they just chop samples with an MPC or a keyboard on the computer, then so be it. But I would always encourage people to include an instrument, whether it be a guitar, bass, piano, trumpet, ukulele, something to get your mind thinking differently. Well, a lot of people, they want to do hip hop. They get a computer and a MIDI keyboard and or MPC, some sort of drum machine, throw together some beats or whatever, get some samples of some songs they chopped and call it a day. And so one thing I want to address is people claim that just because you make hip hop, there's no need for you to play or you don't need instruments anymore. That's so false. In fact, if you create hip hop music, whether you're a rapper, singer, beat maker, producer, anything, you need an instrument more than anything, because hip hop is a sample based art form. They're sampling songs that were created with instruments. So if you're really trying to, if you're really about this, I would suggest, to understand as much about the samples you're using as possible, because that opens up more things you can do with your music. If you know the sample you chopped is in B flat, then if you want to add some horns or a keyboard or a guitar riff or something on your own from from a synth or something like that, you can do it. Instead of, you can also do it by ear, but this also brings in another realm of not only understanding how something's working, but also how to apply it in your own way to the songs you're making or whatever task at hand that you may be using. But having that additional knowledge is definitely going to expand what you're doing now. The idea of not needing to learn anything about playing or using an instrument because you're doing hip hop is ridiculous. You would be better off, because a lot of people think that way. And if you are definitely one of those people to get that one up, then you're definitely going out there and picking up something to make some noise outside of your computer. You're strumming a guitar, or you're hitting some keys or something like that. I would say if you do make hip hop music, definitely get into actual instruments. The second thing I want to bring up is musicianship. Being able to communicate with other musicians goes so far in life. You're a music artist. You're going to communicate with other musicians. Okay, so let's say you're a rapper and you want to go into a different direction where you want a song written from scratch. Okay, people are sampling here and there, but the producer is layering on things, and he's layering on keys and strings to the beat he's making for you. So you're going to want to be able to communicate, like if the song is moving in a certain direction through a certain progression, you want to be able to hear what's going on and articulate what you hear in words that you guys can both understand. Now, I can understand not every producer knows music theory, but there's a lot that do. Don't get it twisted. The more you know, the more you're able to communicate with the people that are helping you create your musical vision. So don't sleep. Put yourself on, and definitely look for many different ways that you're able to communicate with other musicians as possible, because music is all collaboration. If you want to collaborate to make something better than what you can do yourself, then learning another instrument, understanding simple notes, chord structures, and chord tones and chord progressions, all types of stuff like that, allow you to make something bigger than yourself because you're working with somebody else. And that's always great. Another point of view of creating a song, I mean, as a person that doesn't play an instrument, I'm sure, well, or I speak for myself, before I started playing the bass, I mean, you know, I'd have a beat in my head, I'd write the lyrics out to how it would go, or I would need a beat to listen to inspire me to write something. So when you have an instrument, all that's out the window. You can, well, no, it's not really out the window. It's included along with so much more stuff. You can have some sort of melody in your head. You can go pick up your guitar or go to your piano and mess around with some keys and figure it out. Even if you're not fluent, you can figure it out. You have the opportunity to figure it out your own way. Those mistakes help you learn. So that's another thing that I would really stress. Like, a lot of people say it's hard, they're not making good music, they make a lot of mistakes, they're not fluent, so they have that fear and they won't go out and move past that fear in order to get better. So if you don't move past your fear or move past the fear of failure, you won't ever get better. I would really recommend that getting a keyboard, at least a keyboard. You don't have to get a guitar or anything like that. Get a keyboard. It's the most universal instrument. You can hit bass notes and high treble notes. It's the only instrument that has such a wide range. So I would say if you're really not into playing any type of other instrument, the keyboard is the most universal. You can really mess around. There's polyphony. You know, you can do a lot. And once you get used to looking at it, that's what intimidated me. It's part of the reason why I went to bass too, because just looking at all the keys straight through, it was just disorienting. It just looked like an endless length of like the same stuff, and it was overwhelming. But now I look at them like it's the same stuff repeated over and over. You just got to break it down into sections. A lot of learning music is breaking down a whole bunch of stuff into sections and mastering those sections until you can flow it all together. So also learning how to think like a musician, learning how to think about how to tackle learning a song, think about how to put bits and pieces of a song together, not just chops that you made, but if you want to add like a riff to that chop and you have another section of a chop that you want to add to the previous one that's in a different sequence and you want that riff to change, you want to know if you're switching from like an A to a D, you know, and if the riff is going to flow fluently as the sequence changes. So those are the type of things that you figure out when you're playing an instrument. You make a lot of mistakes, and with those mistakes, you learn something that's 10 times better than the mistake you made. And as that piles on and on and on and on, you're like, oh, I got a little bit better, okay. Or, oh, so I know C, E, G is the first, third, and the fifth of the C major triad. Okay, now I can see it. Like, I know I've heard C, E, G was this, that, and the third, but now I can see it, or now I can see that these three notes do this. They make this sound, and you're doing it yourself, so that registers in your mind. Now, that's a one-of-a-kind thing that, like I said, you only get from playing an instrument, and that's going to take you so far when it comes to making your own stuff and communicating with other musicians to make something bigger and better than yourself. So yeah, that's just a few things I wanted to share with you guys about getting an instrument and really getting in and making something from your mind out through your instrument and out into the world. That's my thing, you know. There's so many ways to express yourself, and playing an instrument is such a unique way that it just immediately changes your emotional state. And that's what music does. It changes people's emotional states. And when you actually play an instrument and you're able to feel that in yourself, you're so encouraged to continue playing, not only for yourself, but to spread your music with other people. And people start to feel that in your music as you play. So not even if you don't play your music, play an instrument in the music you're making, people start to feel that passion that you have for creating music in your music anyway, because you've gone on that musical journey or started that musical journey, and you know that musical journey never ends. It's always something new to learn. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys. I can really talk about music and playing instruments and combinations of all that stuff all day and tomorrow. It's your boy Breeze from BreezyBrainstorm.com signing off. Peace.